Hello and welcome to Billy Ho Sports. Big weekend for racing. Tons of Breeders' Cup Challenge, winning your in races, 14 of them all together, spread across the East Coast to West Coast. And we got opening weekend at Keeneland. I just covered the three main races on Friday night, so go give those a look. Now we're going to do the Friday night double feature at Aqueduct as part of the Belmont at the Big A meet. We got a couple of races to cover there in the Futurity and the Waya. So without further ado, I ask that you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. That helps me a lot. The like button, comments, everything like that, sharing on social media, help me grow the channel. And let's get this thing going. And we're going to start with race 5, the grade 3 Futurity. Let's take a look. Okay, 6 furlong on the outer turf for the 2-year-olds. And we start with Gate to Wire for Todd Pletcher. Irad Ortiz really looks good. Probably going to take on some money winning first out, but I don't know that I'm going to have much interest. I do like the Sire Munnings for the speed by state Munnings by Spadestown. That is a good combination for speed. So Gate to Wire, I think I'll probably have some interest in underneath Epitaph. I think I'll have some interest as well. But the ones that do spark my interest the most, because a lot of these are winning their maidens first out. You can see the first two already did, and then Chasing Liberty did as well. And then they jumped up to this juvenile sprint, which was a $1 million purse at Kentucky Downs. Little bit of controversy here, though, between the number 3 in this race, Chasing Liberty, and the number 5, Under Whose Radar. Both of them, I think, are definitely top contenders, and I think could be battling out to win this race. You can see he's listed as 1. He was placed to second place through disqualification because he ducked out right at the end of the stretch into the stretch. There's a funky kind of curve at Kentucky Downs when you're coming down the stretch. You have to come and kind of curve back in to your left toward the rail. And I think that maybe the horse, just being a little green, ducked out a bit and did impede Chasing Liberty, who looked like he was in the process of passing, gonna actually win the race. So I thought it was a legit thing, but it's just unfortunate for a young horse that did, in a huge race like that. I don't know what the purse difference between first and second was, but I'm sure it was significant. But Under Whose Radar, Chasing Liberty, both coming in hot. Chasing Liberty for Rob Atris, and then Under Whose Radar for Mike Maker. Both of those trainers I have a lot of respect for with the young horses. And then you have the one that's maybe an interesting horse, to say the least. I don't think I have interest in the chase. Under Whose Radar, I'm definitely going to have interest in. I'm out of here, or I'm Otter here, I should say, is I might have interest, but you could see that this race, I don't know if it was just maybe a lot more competition wise or stronger race, so to speak, but ran in the juvenile mile and finished seventh. Tistastic was the winner of that race. So going to be a tough one to add in. But Minty, Todd Pletcher, obviously making the jump to the turf for Todd Pletcher. Just nowhere to be found in the hopeful after having an auspicious debut at the Big A. Was up by 5 in the stretch and then just kind of lackadaisically motored home. And I don't know if that was more Johnny V taking his foot off the gas, but it held on by just a nose, and people did have some things to say about that. But I don't think Minty, Repo Stables, obviously half brother to Fierceness, City of Light is the sire. So you would think this horse would fly, but I'm not really sure. Not sold on him yet. Joey Muscles, I don't think I'll be flexing him at all in this race, but a little track bias, 16 races. You can see 50% early speed, 38%. So some early speed in this short one is definitely going to be what we're looking for. So I think I'm going to go with 1 and 1A, Chasing Liberty, and Under Whose Radar. I think I'm going to lean Chasing Liberty as the horse that I think is maybe just a hair bit better on the breeding side with Constitution as a sire. But Under Whose Radar was sired by Violence, making him a half brother to Forte. So there's no slouch there, but Constitution's really been spitting them out. So I'm going to go with Chasing Liberty and Ricardo Santana piloting this one after the second place. Probably should have crossed the finish line first in that one. I also like Gary Contessa's Epitaph as a sleeper in this race. I thought that was a good effort to break the maiden in the state bred 90K. Contessa, known for being good with 2-year-olds. So, all right.
Hello, Billy Ho here. As the sole creator for this channel, I need you, the viewer, to help me grow. Just by subscribing to the channel and clicking that like button alone, you can help spread Billy Ho Sports to the racing community on YouTube.
So I think I'll go with Epitaph as a sleeper. I like Gary Contessa with the youngsters. I think this maiden 90K win was pretty good. Country House is a newly, not the greatest Kentucky Derby winner. I believe it was the one that got placed first by disqualification. That was the maximum security year, I think. But interesting story that year, I got so drunk at a Derby party that I threw away my Country House $200, $20 ticket and passed out. Nobody ever claimed the 200, so my buddy hosting the party kept the $200. So I thought, well, that had to have been me because I think I remember drawing Country House, but I couldn't, provide any kind of proof other than I think I did. So I didn't really sweat it, but it was a few years ago, but a little bitter pill to swallow after a really rough night. But anyway, that's the way we're going to go in this one. Chasing Liberty, Under Whose Radar, 2-horse Exacta box, something like that of the nature, and then Epitaph underneath. These 2-year-olds are so tough to handicap. So, anything can happen. So I tend to like to look for a price. So that's what I'll be doing on Saturday. But my first inclinations are to look at the 3 and the 5. So let's jump over to race number 7. This one we should have a little bit better idea. Race number 7, mile and a 3/8 on the turf, the Waya grade 3. And these are 3-year-olds and upward. So, couple questions. Are we in New York? Yes. Is it on turf? Yes. Start with Chad Brown. We're going to go down here to number 7. And number 6, the 2 horses that just recently ran in the Flower Bowl. And what happened was Idea Generation was allowed to just bust out loose on the lead for a 51-second opening half on the yielding turf. Nobody wanted to go after her, up by 6 at first call, still extending. And they tried to close the gap a little bit, but then she just pushed it right back up to 4 by the stretch, and there was no catching her coming home after 118 for the 3/4. So she cruised. You can see minus 26. That's just slow. And only earning an 88 speed figure, that tells you a lot too. 31-1 Idea Generation upset the apple cart for Chad Brown. The other Chad Brown horse gets it done. McCulloch was the 2-1 most likely, but could not get any closer than third in that race. But I thought it was a pretty steady race. Had a mild kick coming home. You can see how good when there's even just a little bit of pace in the race. Blew him out in the Glens Falls at Saratoga. So McCulloch, Irad, Chad Brown looking for vengeance. 5-year-old mare by Frankel. Can't argue that one. So let's go back up to the top since we started with Chad Brown. Then we're going to just take a quick look at some of the other ones because there are some interesting ones to say the least. Surprisingly, is Repo Stables Todd Pletcher. Uh, Pretty good numbers. Grade one, fourth place, 96, 95s. I don't read as much into the speed figures on turf as I do because the paces can be so unpredictable. But this one is, I might have some interest. I'm not sure. Avenue, Neil, Chris Clement, Jose Lascano. I am going to have interest in this one. Sired by Helmet, 8.7, 8.2. Got big time average win distance. So moving up in class, second in prime power. So I will have some interest. La Mahana or La Mahana, another Chris Clement. I like Chris Clement, trainer of turf horses. Kendrick Carmouche. I'll probably have a little bit of interest in this one. The Dick Memorial wasn't the best at Delaware effort, but I think a bounce back is in order. I look back to way back on Oaks, I believe that's Oaks Day, May 3rd at Aqueduct, going this distance on this track. The Sheepshed Bay lost a head bob by a neck, beat McCulloch in that race, blew by McCulloch actually in the stretch. So I think that was an interesting race. And then came back a couple of months later and now coming in off the layoffs for Chris Clement. So I think this one could offer a little value. Immensitude, I don't know if I'll have much interest in this one. Good speed figures and decent graded stakes. But I think that, like I said, Avenue Neal was one contender. La Mahana, competitive. But actually, in that Dick Memorial, didn't have the pop down the stretch. She faced Warlike Goddess, who ran second versus the males in the Joe Hirsch last weekend. So, like I said, the Sheepshed Bay was a really good effort. Beautiful Love, that was the other horse that I wanted to talk about. Charlie Appleby in New York on the turf. Joel Rosario, this horse definitely getting it done since coming over from Dubai. Hit the inner turf at Saratoga and didn't fare very well at all in the Lake Placid, but nice bounce back coming up against some actual pace. You could see 47.5. I don't know if we're going to get that fast of a pace in a 1.375 race going a 47.5, but was able to easily run them down at that pace with Dylan Davis aboard. So I don't know if that pace is going to be required, but I think this horse will compete. Godolphin and Charlie Appleby can't go wrong in that one. And wheeling back in two weeks rest, I don't think it's a big deal. She's done it before. The last time she did it, she won by 6 lengths over in Dubai. So Beautiful Love's fine. I did both of these. McCulloch is the horse I think that has the most to prove. Star Fortress, decent competitor, has some definitely big time graded stakes experience. Then you have main track onlys, which I don't think are going to get in, so I'm not going to discuss that. So all in all, strong field, could be decided by the pace. I think that's going to make a big difference. So I think we'll need the Pletcher horse, surprisingly, to put some pressure on Idea Generation as so she doesn't get loose again like she did last time. Repo Stables paid $1 million for this mare back in 2023. She's barely earned half of that in 18 starts. I think we'll have McCulloch closer to the pace if it sets up on the slower side. Then she's the best horse and should win this race. Beautiful Love should be closing fast, and I think will earn a piece. I would box those two in an exacta. Then you have La Mahana, I think, as a value play and use underneath as well. So that will do it for your Friday night double feature at Aqueduct. Please help support the channel by subscribing. Hit that like button while you're at it. More content to come. Like I said, big races on Saturday. This was just your Friday night preview on a Wednesday. So until next time, see you soon.